Here's the before image. This repair is behind our customer's dishwasher. We have a top hole that was created by plumbers, and we have a bottom hole that was created by the dishwasher. So now we're removing some of the existing drywall. We want to make sure that we expand a little to the left of the electrical box. We want to make sure we have enough of the 2x4 exposed so that when we insert and apply our new drywall patch, we have something to drill to or attach to. If you look at the brown paper that's peeling from the top hole, you have to treat that before you actually apply the drywall mud to it. So just remember that as a quick tip. So what we're about to do now is apply some wood backing to the existing drywall. And the reason being is that if there aren't any 2x4 in the area where we can attach our new drywall to, the golden rule is to insert and drill in some wood backing. We are about to mix drywall mud by hand. We're using 20-minute mud, 20-minute quick setting mud. That's a 1.5 inch putty knife, and we have our drywall pan. So that looks a little dry. And we're about to add some more water to the drywall mix. So after repeating this process several times, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll know how much water to add, how much drywall mix to add. And you want to make sure your water is down embedded into the drywall mix. You want to make sure that you get it in thoroughly. And it's still a little dry, so we're going to add some more water. So you want to do a little bit at a time to make sure you're not oversaturating your drywall mud. So the consistency that we're looking for is more of a pancake batter. It's not too thin and not too thick, but thin enough to spread on the wall for a great consistency, and so that we can feather our edges so that at the end of the day we don't have to do a lot of sanding between coats. And so you want to make sure that you're getting all the lumps out, so even if you have to press your drywall mud up against the side on the inside of your drywall pan, please do so. And you want to continue repeating this process until all of the lumps are out. So you want to press up against the side of your drywall pan. You want to make sure that you're stirring it up very well and thoroughly. You want to make sure that you're scraping your sides, because over time there will be some drywall mud or some of the powder from the drywall still stuck behind some of the drywall that's in the pan. So you want to make sure you're scraping your sides and you're getting everything in. And I don't know if you noticed, but we just some of the drywall mud just popped out of our pan, so you want to make sure that you're being careful and you want to make sure you're being clean. You don't want to get drywall mud on your customers' furniture or their floors, but for this case, we're being careful as possible, and we don't want to make sure that we're splashing any water or the drywall mud anywhere. Occasionally there will be a little mistakes here and there, but again, continue repeating the process and over time you will become great at it. So again, right now we are continuing mixing by hand. There are other tools out there that you can use. There are many mixers that you can attach to your drill, and you can mix this rather quickly than what we're doing right now by hand. So for the video and learning purposes, I'm showing you how to do it. If you don't have a mixer or a drill, you can do it by hand as well. And you see we just dropped a little more of the drywall mud, but we are over our plastic and then we're over our drop cloth, and that's okay. So we're almost to the consistency that we're looking for. So again, just a few more strokes of mixing, and you want to make sure that there are no lumps in your drywall mud. So you see the technique that we're using by pressing the drywall mud up against the side to make sure all the lumps are out before we apply it to the wall. And we are almost there. Great job, guys. This is good stuff. Absolutely. And you can do this at home as well. Mix a little more, and we're about ready to apply it to the wall. All right. Great job. All right. All the lumps are out. All right, so if you look at your mesh tape, that's yellow mesh tape, that's fiber mesh. Behind the fiber mesh, that's the drywall compound. So we put drywall compound on the wall, and what we did, we filled the gaps. So when you install your drywall patch, there will be gaps. you want to make sure that you're filling those gaps with quick setting mud. If you try to fill those gaps with all-purpose joint compound, it will bubble and it will push out the mesh tape. So what we're about to do now is apply our very first coat over our dried drywall compound that's behind the mesh tape. And so what you want to make sure that you're doing, you want to make sure that you're applying a nice even coat. And then you want to make sure on the left-hand side that you're feathering your edges. And in order to feather your edges, if you're on the left-hand side, you want to make sure that you're pressing down a little firm on the left-hand side of your blade. And then if you're on the right-hand side, you want to make sure that you're pressing down a little firm on your blade on the right. If you're on the top, you want to make sure that you are pressing down as well so that you can feather out the top and also the bottom. So as you see that we are lightly skimming over the middle of where the patch was, you don't want to press too hard. You just want to lightly press over just to knock the high spots off. And even if you come back and allow it to dry, you want to come back and allow it to dry. You can also use your knife to knock off the high spots once it dries. So that looks pretty good. So you don't want to mess with it too much because once it dries, you can knock off any of the high spots. But what we're doing now, we are applying our coat, our last coat to the hole on the bottom. And so you want to make sure that when you, before feathering it out, you want to make sure that when you apply your mud, you want to spread it out at least 4 to 6 inches to the right of the hole or 4 to 6 inches to the left of the hole. Okay. And that looks really good. Yep. And so what we're doing now, we're applying our last coat, a last light thin coat over the entire existing patch on the top and the bottom one. And we are using our drywall knife to feather the edges. So if you use this technique at the end, once it dries, you don't have to use any form of a sanding block or a sponge to do your sanding. So again, a few techniques you want to make sure that you're remembering is that from your hole, you want to make sure that you are expanding your drywall mud out wide because you don't want any lumps. You don't want anyone to be able to detect where the hole was. So you want a smooth, flat wall. So that looks good. So what we're about to do now is apply our last coat of orange peel. We're using a can for small repairs. For large repairs, we use a drywall hopper. And we are blending in with the existing drywall. So the customer texture was orange peel and we are blending it in now. So we're using a hair dryer for the drying process. This allows us to get in and get out of a customer's home or a commercial place within 2 hours or less by utilizing the hair dryer. So this is the before image. If you look at the top hole and the bottom hole, it makes you say, wow, how do you fix that? And here's the after image. Here's the process of what it looks like after applying the drywall mud and all of the techniques that we use. So if you have any drywall cracks or any damaged moisture due to water damage or stepping through your attic, give us a call. 800-792-5088. Call today for your free estimate. DFW Drywall Experts.